A new day, a new box, and a new toy to look at. And this is what we're working with today, a Toshiba 520 CDT laptop. So this machine is from 97, and this one here that we've got, it's a little bit grubby, but it was sold as working on eBay. We'll have to give this a nice clean. It's in a bit of a state, especially this keyboard. But I love this design. This keyboard is also of the era where keyboards were actually nice to type on, although this one does have quite a bit of flex to it. Yeah, no, this keyboard's actually not too bad at all, though it definitely needs a clean, as do these buttons. And on the front here we've got the status LEDs, we've got the volume control and the PCMCIe release buttons. Around here we've got a PCI slot, well, two PCI slots actually, with an Ethernet adapter in there and a power adapter and fan. And around the back we've got power adapter, and we've got in here, in this expansion, if I can get it open, a parallel port. And then working our way around we can see there's a port for a dock. Got our audio, infrared, mouse, keyboard, and we've got here VGA out and serial as well. Quite a few inputs and outputs, even just on the back. And rotating the machine around here, it's quite bulky and heavy. We've got the floppy drive. So this machine is really nice. It's got all the inputs and outputs we could need for a DOS gaming laptop, but it does need quite a lot of work. There's a lot of dirt and debris. It's had a bit of a bad life, probably not really been taken care of, although given its age, certainly seen worse laptops. I think once it's had a bit of TLC, a bit of a clean up, I reckon this laptop will serve us well and will be fantastic for some DOS and Windows 95 gaming. The first part that we'll need cleaning is this top area here where the speakers are and where this keyboard is, which is so grubby. We'll definitely get some isopropyl alcohol to clean this up. The laptop didn't come with a CD-ROM, so I purchased a replacement one here which we'll make use of. Right, okay, let's get this machine switched on and see if it even actually works. Okay, so the screen's quite dark. I'm not too sure the reason why. It does say that the battery is bad, which is kind of expected. It has been unplugged and the battery probably needs replacing. That's the CMOS battery specifically. Got the BIOS here, so it's recognising 65 meg of RAM. It's showing the internal graphics card there. I don't know how clearly this is for you guys to see, but it all looks pretty good. I like that it's got LED display stretch. Because it's a 800x600 screen. Not that we'll be using that for gaming because it looks ugly. We can also disable the cache in here as well for older games, which is fantastic, very handy. Okay, so we're booting into Windows 95. All looks good. Still a very dark screen. I might have to try and figure out why that is. I'm wondering if it's because it's running on battery power. I was just curious if it was going to hold a charge. Just a clock, that's fine. If you can't see anything on screen because this is too dark, my apologies, but you're not missing out on much. Get the date and time adjusted accordingly. Okay, so after adjusting the date and time, I've got the backlight working. It was indeed because it wasn't plugged into power. So let's now check our display so that we can see what we're doing. So we've got true color 24-bit, that's fine. 800x600 will do for now. So 800x600 is going to fill the screen, but if we set it to 640x480 for gaming, because of the age of the laptop, it's going to put borders around the display, which is fine. I'd much rather that than it stretches it like we saw in the BIOS, because if it stretches it, the pixels look terrible where they don't fit properly. Okay, so this all looks to be working. Let's get into the media folder and see what the audio sounds like. It's got two stereo speakers, so it should sound good. And of course it's got a built-in Yamaha OPL3 chipset, so it should sound really good for DOS gaming and playing those MIDI tracks. And that sounds terrible. I'm not sure what's going on there, but that's not how this track should sound. That's really robotic, and I think the speaker's blown or there's a bad cap. Let's clean the computer up and we'll come back to the audio later on and see if we can get it working properly. Right, so let's get started with some isopropyl alcohol rub. Just give this a bit of elbow grease just to get some of that surface debris taken off. So I'm going to speed through this because I spent quite a while cleaning it and tidying it up, so we'll speed through post haste. As you can see, that it's not just that the laptop is dirty, there's also some damage as well. I'm not sure whether or not it's worth going over with some sandpaper, but I don't want to ruin the texture of the laptop. I'm not too sure, might revisit that at some point. I also want to try and find a way of repairing the Tecra label on top. As you can see it's come off and faded. I don't know whether or not it's worth going over with some sort of touch-up paint or with a pen. Okay, let's get this keyboard cleaned up. So just got unclipped plastic here at the back. There are several clips just holding it in place. It's a bit stiff, but once you get a finger now and work your way across, that comes undone. And that allows us to lift the keyboard up and over, and we can unclip in the ribbon cable holding it in place. And there we go, there's one keyboard which, as you can see, is filthy. But now we can get to it, we can remove the keys, give it a clean, get some of this grime off. With that done, we'll just give this now a spray down with some contact cleaner. This will just make sure that there's no dust or debris. It'll also remove any oxidization on any of the circuitry underneath as well. So it's not the most thorough of cleans, but it'll help. We're going to now remove the keys, which I'm going to speed through because this took an absolute age to get each of them removed so they can be cleaned individually. Okay, I've put some blue tack underneath, that's just to stop the keyboard from moving backwards and forwards, which it was doing. So just a couple of spots, there's a few bits in there. We'll put in the back plastic plate and now we'll clean up the keys. So what this is a mixture of just regular water and isopropyl alcohol. Just rub each key in individually, making sure we get in both sides. So again, I'm going to speed through this because this also took probably a good 40 minutes or so. So that's the keyboard done, and we've got a nice clean track point cursor nub as well, so pop that on there. Much better than it was before. Still a little bit of work to be done around the laptop, but the keyboard and the nub much better now. Give that a quick wipe down. Overall it looks a lot better, it's a lot nicer to use as well. None of these keys are sticking, much better. Feels a lot nicer as well. It looks a lot better, and this is the correct colours of the keys, so I don't think we need to do any retro brighting. Just do more wiping down with, this time, some baking soda. So what that'll do is it'll just get rid of some of the more stubborn dirt. So we're going to fast forward through this just as we get the plastic looking a lot better than it was. So baking soda is an abrasive, so this will remove some of the more tough stains. As you can see, I'm switching between baking soda and isopropyl alcohol. Okay, we'll give this now a quick spray with contact cleaner, just to make sure that there's no baking soda anywhere where it shouldn't be. Go down the sides and also the back, get in some of the sockets. We'll get rid of any oxidization and also push out some of the dirt. Give it a quick wipe down all around all the sides, and that's looking so far a lot better. Speakers clean, and clean inside as well, and around the keyboard, and also the mouse buttons, which are really grimy. Okay, it's using a screwdriver. I'm just going to run it through the case just to get some dirt that's stuck in the gaps, and around the mouse as well. I'm not sure what happened to my light, it suddenly got very dark. Right, so more baking soda, but this time on the top of the laptop, so making sure I get into all the different nooks and crannies that dirt and debris may have got into. Give it a nice rub down. Don't want to do too much because I don't want to remove the texture of the laptop, just enough to get rid of the surface layer of grime. And there we go, I think that looks a lot better than it did before. It's certainly brought out the scratches and some of the marks that were there, but overall it's a much better finish. Looks really nice. Again, I don't know whether or not to use sandpaper to get rid of some of those marks or not. Okay, so we're starting to look good, but this machine has been quite troublesome. So we've had a faulty floppy drive, which I'll show you in a bit. We've also got the audio issues as well. It sounds really robotic. I don't know whether that's because of speakers or if it needs a clean or a replaced capacitor, I'm not too sure. So I've got this hard drive as well, this compact flash adapter. The hard drive that's in it was fine and I quite like having it in there, but I thought I'd put this in just to make it reliable. So I had to adapt this so it had an extra pin that That's easy enough. So we'll use that for the operating system for Windows 95. Got a 4GB drive, which is a bit bigger than I would like, but it's fine, it'll do. So you've got that in there as a master, and you can put a second one in here as well. Okay, so we'll just pop the hard drive in here now. There is going to be a slight issue, and that is because of the floppy drive not working. I'm not too sure how we're going to install Windows 95, because I don't believe the Windows 95 disk is bootable. Then we can do a bit of a disk swap and hopefully resume the setup. But if not, what I'll do is I'll have to take the drive out and put it in my Apricot computer and install Windows to the hard drive, and then pop it back in the laptop. So yeah, it's going to be a bit weird. I'm pretty sure this should work though, because I'm pretty confident that setup gets loaded to RAM. Okay, so that didn't really work how I expected. Unfortunately, as soon as I removed the disk that was replicating the floppy drive, it threw a major wobbler. So I'm going to use my Apricot machine, as you can see here, to set it up. So we'll go through setup on this machine. Once it does the final restart to go into Windows, we can switch the computer off, put the hard drive back into the laptop, let it find the hardware of the laptop, drop onto the desktop, and we should have, in theory, I've never done it this way before, but we should have a fully working version of Windows 95. Now, as you can see, I'm using the Windows 98 boot disk just because it was the one that I had on hand, but it should work absolutely fine. Let's see how this goes. I will also just say that I'm going to fast forward through quite a bit of the setup, because ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, so the drive's back in the laptop. Let's wait for it to boot up, and we'll see if it picks up that it's got different hardware to where it was a moment ago. Looking good. So there's a border around the screen just because there's no graphics card driver and no monitor driver, and this screen's 800 by 600. So instead of stretching it and looking ugly, it just makes a small screen, as you can see here. But it's found it, which is good. So yeah, I've got this border here, which is absolutely fine. Puts it in this small little square. No, that looks good. Okay, let's just see now what drivers are missing that we need to get hold of. So let's check the device manager. So actually not too bad. So it looks like we're missing the drivers for the sound card. Although it's picked up the OPL3 that's in my other computer, so we might need to get rid of this. But there is an OPL3 in this machine, so there is a Yamaha chipset. We just need to get the right driver on it. But it doesn't look as much what we've got in other devices. Okay, yeah, there we go. So we've got the OPL3 sound system. At least it sees it and knows what it is. So what I'm doing is I'm just copying all the cab files which are on the Windows CD onto the computer, and what that means is that whenever we install drivers or new hardware or anything like that, if it needs any files from the Windows CD, I don't need to go hunting it down. The files are all on the computer. I've got all the drivers now on this USB stick here, so we can pop this in the machine. I've already loaded the USB driver, I've put that on CD. This means then that we can transfer files much easier in the future. So I'll pop this in now. There we are, it's found it. So Windows 95 its OSR2 release does have USB support. So we'll just install the driver now. There we go, it's recognised the pen drive. And now if we go to my computer, just expand that. And there we go, we've got a removable disk here. So on here I've got various drivers that we can use to get this installed. So I'm going to do the sound drivers next. If we go to my computer, right, so in device manager we've still got other devices showing, but it is just a sound card, as you can see here. So we'll get the drivers installed. Okay, so it needs to know where the cab file is to install the driver, so now I can point that to the pen drive. I've got on here labelled as 520 Sound. There we go, that's the driver installing. Perfect, so now press finish, should just need to restart and it'll be done. There we go, there's the driver showing in Device Manager on Yamaha OPL3 sound card installed. So that's perfect. So I'm just going to get the Toshiba utility put on here now as well, which I've downloaded. I'm not sure how important this is going to be to have on there, but we'll put it on just in case. I think it might do things like keyboard hotkeys and such, and things like maybe battery status and so forth. Well, that sounds quite a bit better than it did before. Not perfect, it sounds like it's clipping almost, but it's a lot better than it was, so I'm quite happy about that. We can work on it further as time goes on and I can improve it and try and clean out the speakers and so forth. Okay, let's test it now with some MIDI. Obviously this will sound a bit different for you guys anyway. That sounds a lot better. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that actually, that sounds alright. Again, the speakers are going to be the main issue here. Right, let's get some games installed, starting with SimCity 2000, the CD version. We'll get this put on there. I think it'll be quite a good starting game, good MIDI. Was the CD version, slightly different audio I believe to the normal floppy disk one. Let's just get that installed now. We might as well install everything. Yeah, we'll keep that to the defaults and we'll get this installed. It runs quite well. Now I appreciate we're not running this in DOS. We're running it just in Windows. I will run some of these games from DOS. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that SimCity 2000 runs fine, which really enough what it would do. So we've got Quake here running in DOS. As it's gone to 640 by 480, so we do have a border around the screen. I'll be honest, I'm not too fussed, but I appreciate some people might not necessarily like that. And again, my apologies, it doesn't show up particularly great on the camera. Again, just because of the type of panel. But I'll tell you, from me, it's a really good experience. Right. There we go, that's better, that's more like it. And this is pretty much the end of the restoration now. So as you can see, this machine is looking a lot better, nice and clean. The keys aren't grubby, everything's working as it should be, the sound is a lot better. The games run on it absolutely fine, it's a good bit of kit. It's a shame that we can't get the screen to run full screen without stretching the image, but it's a minor trade-off. I'm quite happy to have pixels match 1:1. This is a great spec machine though for the time. For a mid to relatively late 90s machine, this is pretty high-end stuff. With an OPL3 sound card, it's able to run games really well. I'm super happy with it. One last thing to do is to stick this Windows 95 sticker on the machine right where the old sticker used to be, which I've not been able to entirely get all the grime off. So we'll just pop that in place. I don't know if this is going to be straight or not. Not that it matters, because the original probably wasn't particularly straight anyway. And there we go. Stuck on there, nice. And that's a good finishing touch there. Anyways, thanks very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more.